This is From the Front Lines. We do want to survive, but more than that, we want to thrive, and I believe we can in these last days. I'm Pastor Larry from Southwest Radio Church, and today is September the 4th, 2020. You know, Nancy Pelosi is fighting back and claims she was set up in the video that shows her inside a San Francisco beauty salon without a mask. You know, the setup is of Nancy's own doing. This is just a backlash. People don't like that woman because of her elitist snobbery over the last several years. You know, there's a common complaint that people are constantly being disappointed by politicians. They make believe that they're one of us. They want to just really rub shoulders with us, but, you know, just a common person. But when it comes to applying the rules, they don't apply the rules to themselves. And I think Nancy Pelosi is one of those bad examples. She's getting a backlash. That's why so many people are claiming that she's a hypocrite. And I believe she is. She's done some awful things that has raised the ire of people. You remember when Pelosi tore up the President's State of the Union speech? She was so proud of her utter contempt for President Trump. What a bad example in a world where incivility is one of the major issues of the day. She's a prime example of incivility, and I think that owner of that beauty salon is getting back with her, as are many other Americans who really don't like Nancy Pelosi. She made a statement supporting radical environmentalism. That is Nancy Pelosi a couple of years ago, and it was really a left-wing statement. I don't remember the exact words. It was something like, go and hug a tree. And she said, well, that's somewhere in the book of Isaiah. It really is not. She is totally ignorant of the Bible. On occasion, Pelosi has appeared on Meet the Press, and guess what she's done? She's justified her pro-abortion stance by misrepresenting the history and the teachings of the Catholic Church. And a lot of conservative Catholics are really upset with her. She and other Democrats talk against the Second Amendment, but they have fully armed bodyguards with a lot of ammo, and they live in lavish homes behind walls that are built to keep her safe. They can be protected. They can have bodyguards with guns. We can protect ourselves. She and her Democrat friends support lockdowns that close businesses while government employees still receive their paychecks. I think the quickest way to end the lockdowns is to withhold the government paychecks. They don't get their money until the lockdowns are terminated and places open up. You do that, you hold their paychecks back, and wow, they wouldn't like that at all. Pelosi's visit to a San Francisco hair salon takes the hypocrisy of politicians to a new level. Evidently, our Democratic rulers believe that they are not bound by the rules they impose on us. You know, one of the elitists. Well, you people out there, you peons out there, you need some instruction. You need some boundaries. But we are the elitist, and we can just hover above the world. Hypocrisy was one of the things that Jesus condemned, and he condemned it many times. He spoke about people who, quote, bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. That's from Matthew 23, verse 4. Look at this clip that claims we are Democrats. See what you think of that.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all men and women are created equal.
We don't just say it, we live it.
We organize, legislate, and govern it.
Together, we work for fair wages and equal pay.
So we can get a good education for ourselves and give one to our children. For affordable health care for our families and a clean planet for the next generation.
So we can decide what's best for our own bodies.
And marry the person we love.
For those battles we haven't won yet, we will keep fighting.
Sometimes that means sitting so that others can stand up.
Listening so that others can be heard.
Or lending a hand so others can pull themselves up.
Because we know that behind balanced budgets, New Deals, and multi-point plans
are people.
People who are trying to do good, to get to work, to make their mark.
For themselves, their families, and their communities.
And through decades of administrations, revolutions, and global changes,
we have been driven by one question.
How can we do the most good for the most people?
Because we don't believe in simply electing someone to give us the country we want to live in.
We believe in creating it.
At town hall meetings, on school boards, in state legislatures, from the halls of Congress to the Oval Office.
We are Democrats.
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 This is what we do.
This is what we have always done.
Let's go make some more history together.
The standard narrative today is that law enforcement officers are race-inspired murderers. We're repeatedly being told that cops intentionally seek to murder black men. You've heard that many times. I've heard that many times as well. Manhattan Institute scholar Heather Mac Donald has presented compelling empirical evidence rebutting this, quote, systemic police racism narrative. And Mac Donald does a wonderful job. She found that a police officer is up to 30 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male is to be killed by a police officer. In 2015, under President Obama and Attorney General Holder, a Justice Department analysis of the Philadelphia Police Department found white police officers were less likely than black or Hispanic officers to shoot unarmed black suspects. I've always suspected that, and that really is a fact. In 2016, the Washington Post reported a Washington State University study finding that police officers are 3 times less likely to shoot unarmed black suspects than unarmed white suspects. I've often wondered about that too. I think white police officers are very, very careful. Black leaders and scholars such as Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, and Shelby Steele, who reject the claim that America is systemically racist, point to the breakdown of families that has accompanied the rise in dependence on welfare since the 1960s. And these black men, they're right on target. Listen to this. Boys are growing up fatherless, a major indicator of crime and poverty, with more than 70% of blacks now born out of wedlock. That's got to have something to do with all the craziness that we're seeing. The stability of the family is vitally important, cutting back on crime and violence. It's so central, yet our society is doing everything possible to destroy the family. The Bible provides lots of advice and teachings for moms, dads, boys, and girls, and shows how to achieve a wholesome family life, yet the Bible is too politically incorrect to gain general acceptance by the general population in modern America. You know, discipline in the home provides teaching on appropriate behavior, and it establishes boundaries of acceptable behavior. Some parents believe that a son is never too old to be disciplined.
You want to be staged? You want to be out here doing this dumb Get the over here! Get over here now! Did you hear what I said? Get the over here! Get over here!
Progressives want the general public to believe that Christians and conservatives are hate mongers and dangerous to the stability of America. But listen to this. After President Trump's Republican National Convention speech, where he accepted the party's nomination for a second term, those who attended the RNC were attacked by violent crowds. Where did the violence come from? From the progressives. Senator Rand Paul tweeted, quote, just got attacked by an angry mob of over 100, one block away from the White House. Thank you to the D.C. Police Department for literally saving our lives from a crazed mob, close quotes. You know, friends, none of this should be surprising. This is what we see, and this is what I think most of us expect. Are these people demon-possessed? Are they high on something? Or are they just plain insane? Well, maybe all of the above. You see, this is just a foretaste of the United States of America under Joe Biden and his friends. Mexico will have to build another border wall, this one to keep Americans from fleeing to Mexico for safety, because it'll be a madhouse in America if the Democrats gain control. So friends, pray for our upcoming presidential election. The stakes are extremely high. If Democrats get in, America will be changed. I really mean that. It will be a disaster. The home, the family, the school, the churches. I mean, they're locking down churches now. There's a $50,000, $52,000 fine against a church, an independent Baptist church in the Los Angeles area. If we have a Democrat president, just imagine what will happen. The church in America will have to go underground. It will never be as bad as it could be under a Democrat president. Well, I plan to visit with you again next Friday. Enjoy the long weekend coming right up. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend.